What is a stupid argument that people still keep using? Well, I did unsafe thing, and I turned out fine. Yeah, that's because the people who died doing it usually don't speak up about it much. Survivorship bias. But it's Christmas to try get anything they want. For example, I'm a bar manager, group comes in 20 minutes after service, stop trying to get a drink. Sorry, we've stopped serving, but it's Christmas, you should serve us. Unfortunately, your £20 in the till isn't worth the potential loss of my personal license. Turn it on 'em. But it's Christmas and me and the servers need to go be with our loved ones now. If you haven't done anything wrong, you have nothing to hide. I want my lawyer. Trust. We just need to trust the people we work with. The entire reason I'm bringing this up is because Gail is a moron. Why is this being turned on me? Fucking Gail. Microwaving your food is bad because of the radiation. Now I can microwave my ramen in a styrofoam cup. You changed your opinion based on new information. That shows weakness and untrustworthiness. I agree. Sometimes the statement being attacked isn't even this is absolutely guaranteed to be true, but to the best of our knowledge. The wait is different. Someone didn't lie or make a habit in the latter case because they didn't say they knew for sure, they just said based on what they know, and there's always more to know, to coerce it into the other just to say, ha, you changed. I knew you couldn't be trusted. Is dishonest. Meanwhile, there's people who dig in and refuse to change despite overwhelming new information that can be harmful. It's my opinion and facts shall not change it. Facts are meaningless. You can use facts to prove anything that's even remotely true. Facts schmacks. But I've always done it that way. Edit. Ho ho ho, happy holidays to all of you and your families. I work at an imaging center, radiology, X-rays and such. We have multiple buildings. This lady is in mine. Accounting is in the admin building. This lady will get a fax, which is a PDF file in her network shared folder. She will print this PDF onto paper. Then she will take it to one of two places. Either she will fax it to the admin building, or she will take it to her PC and scan it in, so that she can email it to someone. We have tried and tried and tried to make her life easier, but she refuses to change a thing. We've have done it like this for years. When you're explaining to them about internet privacy, they say, why should I care? I don't do anything wrong. Quote, I've heard this argument used for DNA databases too. Particularly for mandated paternity tests at birth. It's not that I'm worried it's not my kid, or that I've committed a crime and am worried I'll be caught. It's that I absolutely don't trust any company or government to not cock it up and either accidentally link me to something or maliciously implicate me. The one that shits me off is natural equals good, healthy, and that artificial equals bad, unhealthy. As if our species hasn't spent millennia creating unnatural buildings and cities for comfortable living, or developing unnatural vaccines and antibiotics to treat all the very natural diseases that have killed billions. Karen, nature is good and healthy and safe. Nature, arsenic, lava and volcanoes, fire, hurricanes, poop, maggots, corpse flour, etc. The customer is always right. People constantly misunderstand what that phrase means. It means on a grander scale, like if you have a store that stocks nothing but blue pants, but the customers are all going to the store that stocks orange pants, you should start selling orange pants even though you think they're ugly. It doesn't matter that you think blue pants are better, because the customer is always right. It has nothing to do with Karen wanting the cashier to give her a discount because she had to wait 5 minutes online. I carried you for 9 months. I didn't ask you to do that. The earth is flat because I can't see that it is round. By that logic, the moon is closer to me than New York City, because I can see the moon from my house. Don't eat that. Do you know it has chemicals in it? Quote, everything has chemicals in it. Be specific about what is dangerous then. Blood is thicker than water, aka family above all else. People who need to play this card are usually shitty family members. Edit, getting so many replies around the blood of covenant, supposed original. I agree that it's a nicer quote, but if you Google, there's no historical evidence of that being the original. Whereas blood is thicker than water, has roots in the 12th and 17th centuries. I can attest to this. The shittiest family member I have loves to say this. Well, I have nothing to hide, so why should I worry about privacy? Paraphrasing and quoting Snowden on the subject, it isn't about something to hide, it's about something to protect. privacy is in fact the fountainhead of rights from which other freedoms flow. That's who you are, he said. Privacy is baked into our language, our core concepts of government and self in every way. It's why we call it private property. Without privacy, you don't have anything for yourself. When people tell him they don't fear surveillance because they have nothing to hide, Snowden says he tells them, arguing that you don't care about privacy because you have nothing to hide is like arguing that you don't care about free speech because you have nothing to say. I usually argue that what if a strange man with a covered face just followed you everywhere at all times? He wouldn't hurt you, just be there and keep taking furious notes of whatever you are doing no matter how private. Would you be okay with that? Then why are you okay with online surveillance, especially when your whole life is there on display? There is surprisingly little about you that your Facebook or Instagram profile alone can't reveal. Flat Earth and the confirmation bias community that is the evidence. Has anyone ever actually encountered a flat earther in the wild? I've encountered every manner of tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist, the moon landing is fake, the earth is 6,000 years old, planes spray chemtrails, the NFL is biased against, insert team here, vaccines are bad, but I've never met someone who believes that the earth is flat. Vaccines cause autism. Stupidest argument in existence and has been thoroughly disproved. Autism is due to genetics and possibly some poor choices by the mother during gestation. It is true that some people have bad reactions to vaccines, but they are very rare and far fewer in number than those that would die or suffer a serious complication due to illnesses such as polio, mumps, or measles. As a follow-up to this, I am on the autism spectrum. Even if vaccines did cause autism, and that is a huge if, the people who use this argument are saying that they'd rather have the child, and possibly other people's children, die painfully or be crippled for life than have a chance of turning O. But to be like me. An original song is always better than the cover version, because without the original you would never have the cover version. What a sham, they only played covers. Me, after a performance by the Houston Symphony. You can't be autistic, you're not ugly enough. I get that a lot, just not in those words. Too many people refuse to believe that autism without the facial issues doesn't exist. Don't listen to them. Sure, you are ugly enough. Take it from me, a fellow Aspie, smiley face. I don't really like kids. You were a kid once. And I'll be a corpse at some point as well. It doesn't mean that I want to spend time around dead bodies. Kids are annoying. You were a kid once. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was fucking annoying too. Stormtroopers can't aim. It's been said for over 40 years. And it was even disproven right in the same movie. Right there in 77. Multiple times in the movie it's clarified that Stormtroopers missed Han, Luke, Leia on purpose. It's said by Vader, Tarkin, I'm taking a big risk by letting them go, by Leia, that was too easy. It's even shown on screen that they can shoot incredibly precise. It's there, in the first 5 minutes of the movie. While the rebels barely hit, the troopers precisely take them out. At a later point, Obi-Wan points out that the Sandcrawler was precisely taken down, disabled, * those shots. Too precise for Tusken Raider. That's the work of Stormtroopers. In A New Hope, yes. However, the Ewoks getting the best of them in 6 was an issue. They should have gone with a variation of Lucas's original idea of enslaved Wookiees. Keep the Ewoks for the cuteness and the scene with C-3PO as a god, but then have the Ewoks sneak in and free a bunch of enslaved Wookiees instead of the teddy bears being able to take out Palpatine's best troops with rocks and logs. Men can't be raped by women. As someone who had a girl I didn't want come into my dorm room while I was passed out drunk and try to have sex with me, I can attest to that being wrong. Me and my brother had to explain to my mom in multiple ways that having an erection, that's something objectively wrong is okay because it's just the way things are. If people made that the case, then they can make it otherwise. I've always taken this one as an opportunity for more honesty and openness in communication. I can easily say, it's not optimal, but I don't care about you or the situation enough to change it, so you're going to have to deal with it as it is, which is the same thing as, it's just the way things are. If I get paid more, I get taxed more, so I really get paid less. Only ignorant people say this. If you explain and they don't believe, they are just dumb. If you don't make X type of art, you can't criticize it. Art is a service. If a plumber were to come to your house, get shit-faced, and break your sink, you would want a refund. No one would say, "I'd like to see you do better." But if you criticize a band, some people will still say, "Well, you haven't made music, so you can't criticize it." It's utterly asinine. I also hate this argument. Like, dude, I don't need to be a Michelin-starred chef to know whether or not I enjoyed my meal, so fuck right off. Video games cause violence. Was raised on 'em. I don't fling spears from my hands and scream, "Get over here," just to uppercut someone's body into a pit of giant nails. Joke's on you. I was raised on HOMM3 and now I'm a mythical warlord with a level 5 spellbook and several archangels, behemoths, George Soros and other archliches in my army. In tabletop RPGs, because magic, from the other players absolutely infuriates me when I ask why something works the way it does. I don't make a scene, of course, but still it frustrates me. That and when an actual canon explanation is essentially, because magic. Magic is supposed to be a fascinating fantasy element, not a lazy explanation for everything. Edit. I'm gonna clear up 2 things real quick. I don't expect an answer to every question. The thing about because magic that pisses me off is when it's something that you could explain, and they don't. Try to whatsoever. When I ask questions like that, it's only ever for the sake of my curiosity out of character. I do not turn around and use that meta-knowledge for my own advantage because that takes away part of the fun for everyone at the table. I think I've meta-gamed a total of 1, maybe 2 times ever, and it was back when I was new to RPGs. As a GM, I'll usually make them roll a skill they don't have, like history or knowledge, local, so that I can tell them they don't know. Global warming. Lol, look at all that snow lol, doesn't look very warm to me. Because you don't know the difference between climate and weather. That God hates gay people or some shit. No, you hate gay people. The only logical conclusion, I am God. That gay people shouldn't adopt because it isn't natural. Like the other day I ran into article about 2 gay men talking about wanting to adopt and I saw this comment, "When child falls down it calls mother by instinct. Who is gonna come if these 2 adopt? Like WTF, mom sure as hell won't come either, otherwise child wouldn't be put up for adoption." I had to facepalm myself twice, once for myself and once for that person after I read that. When child falls down it calls mother by instinct. Who is gonna come if these 2 adopt? So, are they saying that the father shouldn't bother coming and helping the child? Only a female person can. Weed isn't addictive, and it's just a plant so it's not dangerous. I'm pro-legalization, but goddamn those are some dumb arguments. It doesn't take a genius to know that weed is addictive, especially if you smoke or know some stoner friends. And the plant argument is just plain stupid. Being a plant doesn't make something not dangerous. There's so many plants out there that can kill you. Even if you want to make it about drugs, heroin, cocaine, and tobacco all come from plants. That's because a lot of people don't understand the difference between psychological addiction and physical addiction. Basically anything can be addicting, any substance that changes the way you feel, even more so. Your brain will start to look for that to go back to those feelings. My mom keeps saying I gave birth to you, but I have a response. I say I didn't consent to that in a calm tone. So then she has the right to take it back. Nature knows best bullshit. Nature knows jack shit. If there's any part of nature that either knows or understands anything at all, it is act. Euelius. Nature doesn't know what it's doing, it simply does as it can, like water finding its way to the ocean. We are an aspect of nature that allows it to look at itself and understand. That doesn't make us the only intelligence nature has or ever will produce, but it does mean that nature, is only learning. I don't think nature knows anything, but there is so much of it that it's pretty damn good at brute forcing solutions and passing on successful genes. It doesn't mean that the result is the best, just the most successful. There's a website that shows all the different arguments people have about climate change not being a big deal. It lists them all and the counter-arguments you can use against them. According to the website, the most used argument is that the climate has changed before. If climate change is real, why does it still get cold? Oh brother, I've never met a single person who thought the earth is flat, but according to this comment section there seem to be quite a lot of them. I'm sorry you all have to deal with those people. I didn't realize I knew any until my daughter told me about the messages she gets from a friend trying to convince her it is flat. Knowing how this friend's dad influences her, I came to the conclusion I know at least 2. Maybe 3 or 4. Weirdness abounds. That argument that if you make more money you will get all of it taxed in a higher tax bracket and come out with less money. The only time this is true is when you're earning so little to begin with that you're qualifying for government assistance, Hen get a raise to where that assistance gets taken away but you're left with less net money to provide for yourself and household at the end of each month. Happened to one of my best friends. Heard a dad say this not too long ago to his kid: if your friend jumps off a bridge, will you follow him? Sophisms aren't great. My librarian said this to me back when I was in like 5th grade after she picked only me out for trying to jump and touch the ceiling fan. My response was, well, this isn't jumping off a bridge, so that doesn't apply. Man, I didn't give a fuck back then. Teenagers need to be invested in real world problems. Teenagers discuss politics, gun control, global warming, overpopulation, etc. Lol, you're just a dumb teenager, what do you know? Unfortunately, that's the society we live in. Whatever you do to try to help, people will criticize. So then you'll stop in hopes that they'll stop. But then they just call you a lazy bum that doesn't care.